The tale goes that in the 1940s, Soviet researchers kept a group of political prisoners awake for 15 straight days using an experimental stimulant gas. Deprived of sleep, the subjects supposedly lost their minds, eventually mutating into violent, flesh-eating monsters. It became one of the internet's most recognizable urban legends, known as the Russian sleep experiment. It was almost always shared alongside a grotesque, grinning image that supposedly showed one of the ruined test subjects. In reality, the entire story is a complete fabrication. It was originally posted to the Creepypasta Wiki in August 2010 by an anonymous user named Orange Soda. The horrifying picture attached to the story has nothing to do with Soviet science either. It's a photo of a commercially available animatronic Halloween decoration called Spaz. Yet the story went globally viral because it preys on very real anxieties. It exploits our deep-seated fears about covert government operations and the moral compromises made by scientists during World War II. The most disturbing part of the myth is that we don't have to look to fiction for accounts of secret WW2-era human labs. A real facility existed, and its records are far darker than anything posted on an internet forum. The legend of the Russian sleep experiment is fake, but it persists because it captures a real historical truth. To find the source of that fear, we have to look at the state-sponsored program that actually practiced these horrors. In the puppet state of Manchukuo, now northeast China, Imperial Japan established Unit 731. This was a massive, heavily fortified compound operating under the Kwantung Army's Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department. The architect behind the operation was General Shiro Ishii, a military physician who secured direct imperial backing to develop biological weapons. He built an enormous operation. At its height, the complex aired more than 150 buildings and employed over 3,000 doctors, researchers, and guards. The staff implemented a system of total dehumanization. Chinese civilians, Russians, and Allied prisoners of war were systematically stripped of their identities and officially classified as maruta, the Japanese word for logs. Inside the facility, researchers conducted lethal experiments. They placed victims into high-pressure hypobaric chambers until their eyes burst, and they performed invasive surgeries and organ removals entirely without anesthesia. An army engineer named Hisato Yoshimura specialized in extreme frostbite testing. He forced prisoners to submerge their limbs in freezing water, then hit their frozen arms and legs with sticks to test how they would sound before chipping the ice away. These perpetrators openly shared their data within the Japanese medical community. They published their physiological findings in peer-reviewed journals, masking their human victims by referring to them in print as Manchurian monkeys. The staff clocked in, recorded their data, and went home to their families. They turned human torture into a highly organized, bureaucratic daily job. Beyond research, Unit 731 operated as an active, industrial-scale factory for the deployment of biological warfare. This visualization shows the geometric multiplication of bacteria. Monthly, technicians manufactured 900 kilograms of typhoid and anthrax. Ishii designed shattering porcelain bombs, dropped by planes over Chinese cities to disperse infected fleas. Contaminating water and agricultural land, these biological agents killed an estimated 200,000 to 300,000 people. By March 1945, the Japanese Navy had finalized plans for Operation Cherry Blossoms at Night. They intended to use submarine aircraft carriers to launch kamikaze biological terror attacks against San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. The doctors at Unit 731 took the science of healing and engineered it into a highly efficient delivery system for mass extermination. As the advancing Soviet army pushed into Manchuria in August 1945, the Japanese military scrambled to destroy the evidence. The guards fed poison to the remaining prisoners, or gassed them, and then blew up the compound. In internet horror stories, a lone survivor usually escapes to warn the world. Out of the thousands of men, women, and children experimented on inside Unit 731, there are no documented survivors. When United States occupation forces arrived in Japan, military investigators quickly discovered the scope of the biological warfare program and the massive trove of data. Rather than prosecuting the perpetrators, the Supreme Commander of the Allied Powers, General Douglas MacArthur, bypassed the International War Crimes Tribunals entirely. The Truman administration struck the secret deal with Ishii and his top scientists. The United States granted them full immunity from prosecution in exchange for exclusive access to their human experimentation data, specifically ensuring the Soviet Union wouldn't get it. The Soviet Union did capture some unit members and tried them at the Khabarovsk war crimes trials in 1949. The United States publicly dismissed the entire proceeding as communist propaganda. The architects of this program never faced justice. Many former Unit 731 scientists integrated into post-war Japanese society, becoming respected medical professors, directors of major hospitals, and pharmaceutical company founders. Perhaps we invent monsters like the sleep experiment because they are easy to defeat by closing a browser tab. They act as a psychological shield, letting us process our fears of government science without confronting the ultimate horror of Unit 731, that its monsters were ordinary men in lab coats, and for the sake of data, the world's most powerful governments let them walk free.